It's no secret that Americas is one of the most competitive regions in VCT, and I'm not the only one who thinks so too.
It's very understated how dominant Americas is as a region, where if you put us in any other region, we would have been just fine. We would have been the best team.
In my previous videos, I've mentioned that I believe every single Americas team has a realistic shot at getting one of the next 7 open spots for international play. Yes, MIBR too. Maybe it's more of a reach for them, but even they can still do it. Those 3 invites to Shanghai is probably unrealistic for some teams, but that 4th one in champs is up for grabs. In this video, I'll give some advice and insight on what teams can do to achieve it. Of course, I'm no expert, I'm just a fan of the game and the sport. Some of the things I would say would be just for fun, and other things more serious. First, let's talk about 100 Thieves. In my America's Guide video, I joked about how many people are looking at Bucio to be the sole catalyst to turn these boys into men. I said it wasn't a fair role to put him in, but apparently he wants it.
And when 100 Thieves lost, they were leaving yesterday, and they're walking through the car park, through the parking lot to leave after losing their game, with Bucio has got a literal boombox on his shoulder, pumping out rap music, swagging out of the building with the rest of 100 Thieves walking behind him, pumping the tunes, getting the vibes back up, absolutely donk walking out of there, not giving a that they got knocked out. I think that team was missing confidence. The way that they played this week, they had a lot of confidence. I think they need to tweak a lot of the specifics of what they're doing, but I think they're on the right path.
I think the winning recipe for 100 Thieves is to trust the evil geniuses process. Bucio and EG's ex-assistant coach is on this team, so they can reshape this group and go on a similar run that EG did last year, where they went from the worst team in the Americas to the best in the world with a bunch of players people didn't know the names of. Let's talk about C9. It seems them and Bleed Esports are going to be the first teams to pull the trigger on roster moves this season. Some are saying C9 are looking at tier 2 talent to bring in, which isn't the worst idea. You can argue that their best player is Oxy, who recently came from there, and Nere is making huge splashes in EMEA, but similar to a lot of the teams I will mention, all that talent would not mean much if their gameplay and executions are still weak. If they really want to and can find other players to max Oxy's crazy skill, then I could see them going far, but they need to do it fast. It could take a game or 2 to bring someone into the fold, but even longer to change a team's culture and identity. Last year, C9 was known for playing to the competition's skill, where at times they look bad against subpar teams and look good against impressive ones. That needs to change. On the other hand, I think the only way G2 makes it to an international event is if Riot removes Sunset from the competitive queue. They've played this map 5 times and have a record of 2-3 on it. They obviously think it's their best map, and it might be. In all their losses here, they had a good lead at halftime and choke when they switch sides. Maybe defense is truly their weakness. Regardless, G2's potential as a dark horse is high. They play the game so well on the macro and micro level, which gives them these leads. They even make the right adjustments too. It's just that it usually comes too late into the game and the other team feels like they're back in it. Maybe this team needs a sports psychologist too, because if this continues, their record may look like KRU's last year, where they lose games they should have won against top level rivals. From top to bottom though, KRU has major firepower. They may have some of the best raw aimers in Latin Am. If Potter was running this team, then I would be confident in them making it to champs. KRU does have decent plans coming into games, but you can tell they love to freestyle and take on 1v1s, 1v2s, 1v3s, and sometimes win them. Like here, where Kesnet said screw it, I'm challenging G2 from this switch. Best case scenario, it's a 1v1. Worst case scenario, it's a 1v3, since his teammates can't play with him due to their positioning. And he just wins.
Okay, they suspect that everybody has rotated off, but the call there still. Okay, meeting them. It is just a firepower to manpower with the 100's Fury on top. Maybe enough to try and settle this one, because he's eager to take the fight once more. Just facing wide into it. Shy for a B main. This is still watching that one, but listen, it's the Kesnet show, goddammit. This guy, he can't be stopped.
Yes, it was a gun diff round, but at the pro level, the Sheriff is still a broken pistol to have. They usually start off playing like a team, but as the rounds develop, each of these players think it's time to put on their Kobe cosplay and say I'm going to shoot when there's 3 defenders on me and win. It's fun and exciting, but this is a team-based game, and possibly taking on 1v3s is not winning Valorant in my opinion. Yes, sometimes you do need the hero plays, but it shouldn't be your go-to. If KRU can utilize their raw aim as a team, I can see them go far. It's easier said than done to change this though, when things get hectic on the map. I'ma keep it a buck with you guys. I didn't watch too much MIBR, but they have upsetted two teams people thought were better than them, C9 and G2. I'm pretty sure many people remember this 100 Thieves knife play that MIBR was able to pull off. So they have a history of punching up to their competition. This is just signs of a coaching diff in my opinion, which makes sense since they have a world champion in that position, as well as Fraud, who was a part of Loud's dominant run too. If they play spoiler to enough teams, they could pull a KRU type of run for that 4th spot in champs. On the flip side, Furia has a weird problem. When MW Zera does good, the rest of the team suffers. When he does bad, the rest of the team excels. And it's not a case of him baiting them either. He can just be that good at times.
Victor, so they've got past his trip. Oh, and MW, here it is. The time to strike is now. Isn't he? Dash forwards. He's feeling like really just getting involved into the thick of things. Demon 1 will not be outdone, but perhaps no. MW shuts him down.
Against NRG, he actually out-aimed and outperformed Demon 1 on Breeze. He looks like a top 10 player in the world when he plays Jet on that map. But I don't know how good he is when not playing that agent. And yes, we know Havoc had a rough first map on Breeze, but it was his first tier 1 game and it had a long tech delay to start it off. Since then, he's bounced back. Furia just needs better strats in the mid-rounding. I mentioned this in my tech delay video where it was easy to read them. They were able to get leads on both NRG and the MIBR, but lose them because the other teams could adjust easily. That tells me that they have the talent to beat other teams, they just need better tactics to match it up. For EG, I think having a bye helped and hurt this team. In the sense they were able to get further in the tournament, but they had less time together on stage. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but from their walkout, you can tell some of the players were nervous, and it showed in the beginning of Sunset against G2. It wasn't until Potter called a timeout that they started winning rounds and looked like they were having fun. This team gives me similar vibes to Paper X, where when they're having fun, they can be dangerous, but if they're too tense, then they're nothing to worry about. People say Valorant is 80% mental and 20% mechanical as an exaggeration, but it still does hold some truth. Jagamo was having fun against Loud and doing whatever from hitting op shots to bouncing around like a madman on Deadlock. The team was having fun with Odins and beat Loud on Ascent, a task that even Sentinels and Leviathan couldn't do. However, throughout that matchup, you saw that they were whiffing easy shots. 1 or 2 times isn't a big deal, but it happened way too often. That tells me nerves played a part. You miss 1 shot, it's okay, but you start missing a couple, you start to get inside your head. I think they just need more time together on stage, and maybe some practicing in that department too. However, the more and more I look into Leviathan, the more I realize they may have role issues. Throughout kickoffs, you can tell the Sea Serpents have been experimenting with different agents for each player, and because of that, Tex is getting the short end of the stick, where this former duelist main is now playing 4 agents on 3 different roles. It could be the result of bringing in comms so late into the offseason. On Evil Geniuses, he never played Sky during their championship run, and we might know why. His Sova and Sky are night and day. He's had only 1 game where he went positive with Sky, while his Sova on Ascent is still world class. To be fair, you don't typically expect your initiator to throw down huge numbers anyways. And Sky has gotten some nerfs to make the agent less of a favorable pick. Fortunately, Leviathan is smart to know that double controller is probably best for this team. Viper is still a meta pick, and King has great results with her. And Mazino on Omen and Astra has come up big for this team. However, Raze can be shaky for them, regardless if it's Aspas or Tex playing her. I think it's better to have Aspas take these duties so they're not stretching Tex out too much. The same Tex who stepped up on Gecko, while Aspas was struggling against his former team. They should qualify for champs, but Shanghai might be a tough road. NRG are still a good team and just need some more time together. It's unfortunate that only 2 teams from each region moved on. However, there are apparent weaknesses that could hold them back from Shanghai and possibly champs too. Raze, and specifically maps where she's dominant on. I think we know that Demon 1 can't handle the movement.
Watch this.
Bro, yeah, here we go. Look at this.
Yep.
Yo! Never lock and raise.
Despite having a history of playing Unreal Tournament in the past, I guess he didn't pay too much attention to rocket jumping in that game. Regardless, 4 out of the 7 maps in the competitive queue have seen this high-flying agent as the go-to pick. It doesn't look like it's going to get any easier for them too, since Ascent is most likely the next map to get rotated out. Fracture is rumored to come into play. Descent has been one of their stronger maps. I think this leaves NRG with two options. Go the Paper Rex route and rethink team comps altogether for those maps, or double down with Vic's Raze and figure out ways to set him and the team up for success. Or maybe a combination of the two for certain maps. Victor is good on that agent, but they've been losing to teams like Billy on Bind and Split, where Raze has had mixed results. If they can get over this problem, then they can go far. And let's not forget about Loud, who have proved that they know what they're doing. Loud is stacked from top to bottom with gamers who can shoot back. QCK has been one of the weakest members on this team, but has shown flashes of brilliance. That's not a knock on him though. It's just a testament to how good the rest of Loud is. He already provided decent value on maps like Ascent. I'm sure the more he plays with them, the better he will be, and eventually we may see him at the top on the offensive end where a good duelist should be. The sky's the limit for Loud if this does happen. They have shown that they can play as a team, which is a recipe for winning Valorant. Sen on the other side are now seen as favorites to win Madrid. Maybe I'm reading a bit too much into walkouts, but I could tell there were some nerves heading into their first game. However, going into play-ins proved to be more of a blessing than a curse for them. The more they play together, the better they got. Zekin and Tens are seen as the heavy hitters, but everyone on this team is scary and can carry. Saucy has multiple times where he top fragged on Gecko and Sova. John QT is making so many IGLs look bad because of his amazing aim. Zelsis has came up big in clutches too. Even Kaplan is a solid coach. Calls timeouts and draws up nice gameplays when he's allowed to. If they can figure out Breeze and or Icebox, then they may even be favorites to win champs too. But let's not jump the gun. Madrid is still right there for them. Let me know down below which teams you like the most so far and which ones may surprise people the most throughout this season. Till next time, stay safe and I'll see you in the next video.